This video is not intended to encourage or glorify any kind of drug use. The sole purpose of these videos is to educate you on the dangers of what these substances can do to you. Please do not do any of the acts mentioned in this video. I repeat, do not do any of the acts mentioned in this video. In the chance my channel gets terminated again, I have all my stuff uploaded on my Spotify at Tales from the Trip. Just search it up. There's also a link in every description of all my videos. I upload every single thing I've been doing there recently, and I am uploading old videos as well. I just wanted to point that out if you guys were interested. Thank you, and let's get to the video. Kratom ruined my life, quite literally. Realistically though, I ruined my life using Kratom. I take responsibility for my actions, but the reality is that I would not have these problems if not for Kratom. I have to do an enema every 1 to 3 days, depending on how bad the constipation and intestinal pain is, just to not die. I have to take lots of Miralax, etc. Laxatives do not work at all, and before anyone asks, I am not and have never been addicted to them. My motility is almost non-existent though. As we all know all too well here, Kratom is incredibly constipating. For some people, it's worse than prescription opiates, partially due to the fiber content in Kratom and all the extra alkaloids. For some people, even after quitting Kratom, it could take like 3 weeks or more just for things to start moving somewhat normally again. Anyway, I started using Kratom in November of 2016. I'm 25 years old, so doing the math, I just turned 18 then. At first, it was a literal miracle. It cured the PTSD that nearly killed me. I thought I had found the ultimate natural medicine for my brain. I used Kratom on and off and initially didn't get addicted to it. I started using it a bit more in like June of 2017. Things were going relatively well, but I definitely immediately had some constipation issues on and off from Kratom. I didn't even realize it at first, oddly, until it got bad. I was just so thankful to not be wanting to die. In like July of 2016, I started using Kratom a bit more often. And even that was maybe once a week or twice a week. In August then, things got bad. I'd used Kratom like 5 times in a week, and I hadn't gone to the bathroom once. I stopped Kratom immediately, and even then had withdrawal, though it was nowhere even close to what I would later experience. I'm seriously sensitive to withdrawal due to fibromyalgia. I was on vacation with my family and had to come clean about my bathroom issues. My family helped a lot, and I eventually got significantly less stopped up. But I didn't want to lose my new miracle. Due to my mental illness and flawed thinking, I thought to myself, well, maybe this time it won't be as bad, and I could just be proactive and take Miralax if things start to get worse again. Yeah, stupid. Things continued to kinda get worse, then better again, then worse again, then better. I justified it because Kratom worked so well for my anxiety and even made me ignore the bathroom issues. It seemed like a worthy trade-off since I knew a lot of chronic pain patients who had constipation issues, and I do also have chronic pain. In January of 2017, I reached 30 days without using the bathroom. Granted, I was not eating much at all by then. I tried everything. Laxatives, enema, Miralax, Linzess, prescriptions, etc. Nothing was working. I was beyond terrified and reading stories of people whose intestines ruptured and they needed an ostomy bag. And yes, I had stopped Kratom completely long before this. I went to the ER 3 times. They did nothing, literally nothing. They literally told me I might have a rupture and need surgery soon. All this due to Kratom and my stupidity. Eventually, my doctor helped me find the perfect combination that at least got me out of dangerous territory. 6 capfuls of Miralax per day, laxatives, and then a massive bag enema 3 times. Then when I got out of panic mode, I had to keep doing enemas. My guts never woke back up. I went another 2 weeks without going, and I had to start doing enemas again. I kept needing to use enemas, almost no laxatives though, just to use the bathroom. Things never got better again. I had a colonoscopy near the end of 2017, and they told me that there was nothing seriously wrong with my gut besides inflammation. Well, I went another 2 months without Kratom, and everything proceeded as it was. I started Kratom back again though, because I felt that if my guts were staying screwed up anyway, I may as well just start using again. Really dumb, and maybe things wouldn't be as they are now if I had just stayed away. I still have to do enemas every 1 to 3 days just to not die, or have intestinal pain, which is often uncomfortable, on the verge of pain regardless. It's been 6 years. I became extremely depressed in 2020 and had 3 suicide attempts by 2022. I used Kratom for the vast majority of these years, only slowing down to see if my guts had gotten any better. They hadn't. I also got severely addicted to research chemical benzos and had to taper over the course of a year with the doctor's help. I used 25 to 30 grams per day of Kratom and went cold turkey in 2019. It was so horrible. I didn't sleep for literally 12 days. It was on the verge of psychosis. I had my mom hide all the knives. The only thing that got me to sleep was being driven around in a car with my mom for several hours each day for a week. I eventually gave up again and used Kratom up until March 3rd, 2023. Since then, I am doing well, all things considered. My intestinal issues have gotten significantly easier to handle. My GI doctor thinks the damage may be permanent though. I'd like to get another colonoscopy done, but it is too expensive. I am 129 days off of Kratom and am the happiest I've been in literal years. The PAWs has basically ended now. I am now enrolled in college for this fall for a CS degree. I'm actually a formerly very successful app developer, but Kratom had ruined that. I'm now working on my app again and have a good shot at success if I stay motivated, which is easier than ever again. I released my first highly successful app at 15 years old, so I'm somewhat experienced. My fibromyalgia symptoms as well are so much improved, to the point I have some really good pain days now. Wow, I didn't realize it, but my fibromyalgia symptoms had gotten so much worse due to Kratom. The pain and temperature fluctuations were unbearable during Kratom use, and especially when stopping. Basically, I've come to say, even if Kratom has taken a lot from you, it can actually get better, even if you don't think it can. I've seen some very worrying posts over the years of others deciding to use enemas so they can use Kratom. Not a lot, but I've seen more than a few. Let this serve as a warning. After doing some research online and learning that Kratom acts on opiate receptors and was totally legal, I became intrigued. I found a good price on 30 grams of powdered super-grade Bali Kratom from a reputable vendor that was selling the stuff at a popular online auction site. Upon receiving the order, I immediately measured out a 7-gram dose and stirred the powder into 2 cups of grape juice. I drank the grainy concoction over the course of about 30 minutes. As I drank it, I noticed myself becoming more alert, but my mouth was also numbing a bit. Over 30 minutes, I sipped the juice until it was all gone. After it had started to set in, I felt pretty lethargic, but there was no noticeable feeling of euphoria whatsoever. Soon, I became aware of the effects of this drug. It was very sedating, but not in a pleasant way. It was overpowering, and the nausea was unbelievable. I had intense dysphoria. I crawled into my bed, and being so sedated, I was able to sleep. So about 2 hours after taking the stuff, that's what I did. The next day, I realized I had taken too much and probably just needed a smaller dose. So 2 days after the initial experience, I tried again with 5 grams. I got less sedation, but again, no euphoria to speak of, except some slight stimulant effects on the come-up. I was nauseated again and thought this stuff was a waste, but it did help me sleep and I enjoyed the nap. I finished out the rest of the 18 grams I had remaining over the course of the next week in 6-gram doses mixed with cups of water. The naps I got from it were satisfying sleep, but it wasn't worth it as soon as I realized. I became quite constipated as this experiment went on, finishing off the remains of it. After finishing the last of it, I soon developed intense stomach pains from the constipation, a complete lack of passing bowel movements. I knew that opiates could affect this necessary bodily function, and this had happened to me. While Kratom may not be considered an opiate, it does work on the mu-opioid receptors, and I got the worst of it. It was awful. My digestive system was literally so backed up that I couldn't process food through my stomach. I couldn't eat much without throwing it up soon after because my food had no place to go. After a week of this horrible constant stomach pain, I started having sharp and intense pains on my left side. Fearing that this constipation had caused an inflamed appendix, I was scared but didn't want to see a doctor. Over the course of the next month, I did my best to find a regular supply of cannabis, which I smoked to ease the pain, and that helped get my digestive system working smoothly again. Overall, Kratom was a horrible experience for me. It wasn't fun while I did it. It was tiring and was very dysphoric at higher doses. I really thought it might kill me at some point in the first experience. Later, I thought that constipation would rupture my insides, and it nearly did. Some months later, I still have problems with constipation, and my left side still hurts slightly. To keep the story as short and sweet as possible, I am completely stuck to the grips of Kratom. Taking a few capsules for a pre-workout boost starting last June has escalated into me downing 15 to 40 grams of powder every 1 to 2 hours of the day. Despite my extreme usage, I'm stuck in bouts of severe anxiety, depression, lethargy every single day. Throughout the past year, I had several extremely traumatic things happen within my family and relationship that led me to continue to drive up the dosage. I was an aspiring bodybuilder stricken with severe mental and physical pain. A few grams before my workout took away all my pain and turned me into a beast again. It gave me mental clarity and made me feel like a little kid again. Fast forward into the winter, I began experiencing severe health issues with my kidneys and muscles. I lost 100+ pounds of pure muscle mass, along with my ability to walk or even lift my arms due to what is believed to be severe rhabdomyolysis. I continued to take Kratom as it helped ease the severe muscle pain I was experiencing. I worked my way up to about 100 grams per day before jumping off cold turkey when I was admitted to the ICU. After a lengthy 6-week stay, I was released, but was still in severe pain and had very little muscular strength. I began to use Kratom again at small doses, 10 to 20 grams per day, as it was the only thing that could take away my severe pain and gave me the ability to walk on my own free will. I ended up accepting a job that I was in no way, shape, or form ready for due to desperate need of money after spending almost 5 months unable to work. Work was exhausting. I could barely walk up and down the steps, and I was put to work in a labor environment. The only way I was able to keep up was by taking more and more Kratom to kill my pain and give me energy. I would spend my hour lunch break sleeping in my car, throwing up and passing out several times a week due to the exhaustion, but I stupidly continued to bite the bullet and take more Kratom to mask my pain. Fast forward to now, and I have amassed a 200+ grams per day habit just to function. I don't believe I ever even get to the point of expediting withdrawals, yet my depression, anxiety, lack of motivation, and fatigue are full blown. all the things I began taking Kratom for in the first place. I feel horrible taking the Kratom, but I feel even worse every attempt to taper down. If I am not dosing every 1 to 2 hours or dose on a full stomach, I feel completely useless and mentally a wreck. Even when I am taking my usual dosages, it's still a 50-50 shot that it will make me feel relaxed versus sending me into a manic episode. I plan to go to a detox center, then rehab, but I am horrified of what life awaits for me off Kratom. My body, mind, and spirit have been crushed so badly, and Kratom was the only thing holding me together for so long until my usage became way out of control. I want to at least taper to 100 grams per day before going to the detox facility to make the jump, but I just haven't been able to get the dosages to budge no matter what. Without Kratom, I'm stuck on the couch all day, riddled with pain, depression, and anxiety. But being a slave to the sludge has hurt me more mentally than anything else. I just feel I need a little momentum. I can't keep going backwards. I decided to try Kratom for the first time. I took it at 6 p.m. I made a tea with 10 grams of powder. It tasted horrible, but I gagged it down. By 7 p.m., I felt fantastic. It felt like taking Vicodin, but not quite as euphoric. By 8 p.m., I started having terrible stomach pain. It kept getting worse to the point where I was hunched over in pain and was miserable. It was the worst pain I have ever experienced. Then by 10 p.m., I started vomiting uncontrollably. I vomited 6 times by 2 a.m. By then, I was so exhausted that I fell asleep. I kept waking up every hour because of the stomach pain, but I didn't vomit anymore. I continued to feel dizzy and nauseated. By 8 p.m. the next day, I felt completely back to normal. It was the worst 24 hours ever. I felt like I was going to die, worse than any stomach flu I have ever had. I realize now that I took too high of a dose for a first-time use. I will not be trying it again, though. On April 15th, I will be 3 years clean from Kratom, one day before my birthday. Here's my story. I started with hydromorphone when I was 16 in high school and got my first taste of what opioid addiction was like, and oh boy, those withdrawals were not fun when I quit. I swore I'd never put myself through the pain of opioid withdrawals ever again, but then Kratom shoved its way into my life, or should I say, I brought it into my life. I was 18 and me and my buddies heard about Kratom. We ordered some and loved it right away. I did a decent amount of research and kept hearing about how it wasn't addictive and totally safe. What bullshit I was getting fed online, especially on r/Kratom. Started off taking 3 grams per day, then 6 grams per day, then up to 12 grams per day for about 3 months. I eventually ran out and realized I was getting minor withdrawals very similar to the ones of hydromorphone. Since I wasn't taking that much a day for very long, I didn't have a hard time quitting at first, but it was still hard. I'm 19 now, and in college, me and my 3 roommates all order Kratom, me thinking I'll be able to control it and use it responsibly this time. At first, it was under control. I'd take a 4-gram dose every once in a while after a stressful day or hangover. That didn't last long, though. Slowly, I started to take more and more until I was back to 12 grams per day split between 2 doses, one when I woke up and one at night. Eventually, that turned into 3 6-gram doses a day, then to 4 7-gram doses a day. I just kept increasing the dosage, trying to chase that buzz, and would use more frequently as well. I dropped out of college and was back at home with my family and my Kratom. I was working as a cook and would have to always bring in Kratom to work halfway through my shift to function. I was transparent with my chef and he actually didn't care at all, let me quickly take my 7-gram dose when I needed to. That 7-gram dose 4 times a day didn't last long though. I started taking more and more until I hit 20 grams at a time every 4 hours, give or take. I was spending almost all my money on Kratom. I would order a kilo every 2 weeks. It was absurd. I somehow convinced my mom it was a health supplement for years. I would wake up every day in withdrawals and rush downstairs to take my first dose of the day. It was terrible. At this point, I've been taking 100 to 150 grams per day. I wouldn't even scale my doses. I would just take 6.5 tablespoons and mix it with water. It was so thick and disgusting, I'd throw up if I didn't drink it quick enough. It controlled my life. I would barely go out with my friends anymore because I'd have to bring my Kratom with me if we were out for long periods of time. One day I was drunk and my mom snapped at me and yelled, "Why are you always taking this green gunk all day? Why is my sink always a mess and clogged with your Kratom?" I broke down and finally told her the truth. When she heard everything, she cried and promised to do everything she could to help me get off of this poison. I should mention that at this point, I was getting green patches on my skin, usually always my left arm and ankle. I looked into it, and yeah, Kratom can literally dye your skin if you take enough. Thankfully, it's only temporary. Long story short, I did a very hard taper, then went cold turkey on April 15th, a day before my birthday. Worst birthday of my life, and the worst 2 weeks of my life. I was in so much pain, by the 6th day, I actually thought I was dying. The withdrawals from Kratom made the withdrawals from hydromorphone a fucking walk in the park. If it wasn't for my mom and my close friends, I probably would still be on this gunk. I'll be 3 years clean soon, and let me say this, I also wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys. I'd be on here every day shaking and sweating, reading motivational posts during my withdrawals. It made me feel not alone. I'm not sure why I waited so long to say my story and give my thanks to this wonderful community. I hope maybe my story can help someone push through and quit like the stories I would read here 3 years ago. Thank you, and good luck to anyone trying to quit. Remember, the pain of quitting is only temporary. You will recover one day. Just keep on pushing. Alright, to finish off a rather depressing video, let's end it happily. This was submitted to r/quitting Kratom. Never trust a fart when you're in Kratom withdrawal. That was the title. Enough said. Dear God, I just threw away my underwear in a gas station bathroom.